And you go into a year and you try and do everything, you're not going to be very good. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want. I know you've all heard the KISS, keep it simple, stupid. We don't keep it simple at all. But we do know what our philosophy is, and I think that's a big thing. It's a very broad topic, but it's a very big thing to try and do that. So this is what I call random digressions of just things that you probably don't want to see any new plays or any, maybe some drills and things like that, but just basic, simple things that I'm sitting there. This is my 22nd or 23rd year as a head coach. This year we got beat by Fairfield, and Paul was speaking here earlier in the championship of our tournament. That was my 608th game as a head coach. So I'm sitting there after 608 games sometimes and watching our workouts now and said, you tell me I'm just realizing that now, and you might have thought of it 20 years ago and implemented it, and there's just little things that maybe they're elementary to you that you've been doing that I just thought of, or likewise, that you never thought of, and I've been finally thought of it. So that's what this is all about. First thing is that we always believe that we want to practice our shooting before we practice our defense. We always thought that let's get ourselves really into a rhythm that we're really stroking. And that shooting might be 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of unbelievable intensity. There never is a shooting drill done that isn't a win-lose situation. Ever, ever, ever. If we're going to do it and it's not going to be a win-loss situation, we're shooting against the wall. I mean, seriously, just shooting against the wall, working on it, or just shooting against the backboard and not letting the hand drop until the ball hits the backboard. But everything after that is going to be intense. And we're going to do that before our defense. I used to say, okay, we all know defense is number one. Every one of us agrees with that, I would assume, or you're not going to be a very good coach if you don't agree with defense. But you go out there and you start getting into your defensive drills and haven't shot, really got some rhythm shooting, that guy will be like this, and the shot will go up, and he'll box out and he'll miss it, and he thinks he's a good defender. But because that guy isn't loose and he isn't going. But if that guy's in rhythm and now he just gives it one of these and the guy shoots it, right, and he makes it, right, all of a sudden, right, he realized he better get like here on this guy and like there on that guy, and then a guy beats him to the hoop, he better be going. So we've always done it that way. It's really but our shooting now is going to be intense. So it's not like you could say that the counter of that would be, well, now you're not practice shooting with good defense. Yeah, we're going to as soon as we get to our defense. But we're going to get those reps in that are going to be, we're going to try and stress everything. While I'm talking about those reps with shooting is the thing I'm just realizing now as I'm working with the Richmond kids and finding out that my philosophy and what they've been doing might be different in some areas, is that we're working on every area of passing right now and shooting in every shooting drill. We all know the shooting drill where we might have a rebounder here. Yeah, okay. A rebounder here, a passer here, and the shooter here, and he goes back and forth, and this guy gets every rebound. We have always done this, as a matter of fact, is that rebound, every single time, it's going to be a two-footed rebound when we come down, and we're going to turn, and we're going to make a pass to the outlet guy, and that outlet guy is waiting till the ball sees him, and he's breaking hard, and he's going to catch it on the hop, and he's going to step across, and he's going to hit that guy. And that's happening all the time. Instead of doing passing drills, it's going to be always in our shooting drills. But it's intense in each and every one, and we can get into how we keep that intense. But that was my first point, that we always do that. We're always going to be really stroking it before we work on defense. We always try and loosen up and do our stretching. I do a thing that I put on the practice plan, 3, 3, and 4. Mike was so neat, too. There's going to be nothing neat. I'll tell you right now, don't write to me for this information because it's all here. I don't have anything that I can write out to you. I'll talk to you on the phone forever about it or meet with you, but I don't have anything written down. 3, 3, 4 is it's 3 minutes. We're going to go over Maybe we're just going to pass the ball back and forth for each other for 3 minutes, or we're going to break open and get the ball and pass and go from there, right? We're going to shoot the ball off the wall for 3 minutes. We're going to do something like that. Then we might run 3 minutes of just passing and going back door, but at half speed, but the same thing. Or we're going to run 3 minutes of out-of-bounds plays, and then we're going to stretch for 4 minutes. And that's the 10-minute warm-up that we're going to do every single day. And it's either if we're going to start at 4, we're probably going to start that at 4. If we're going to start, we have a saying, when you can't be on time, be early. But we're always going to start right at 4 o'clock if we're going to start at 4, and it's going to go 3, 3, 4, and we actually start practice at 4:10, and then probably go for 2:15. But I always thought it was important to get their legs a little bit looser. There are occasions where we've had to practice at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning or something like that. We might go at that time 3, 3, and maybe 6 minutes to stretch. But hell, if they need more than 4 minutes to stretch, right, that's valuable time. You tell them they better do it ahead of time. I just got there, and because your strength coaches, you don't probably have a strength coach, but your other guys will have you do it. I had them, they were doing their weight training. They had 17 stretches to do before weight training. And then they had another 15 minutes of other warm-up stuff. Tell them if they need more time to stretch, because that's the time they're just trying to get out of practice on you. You got 4 minutes to stretch, get it done. If you need more, you better get there earlier. So then we're going to start. So we always do a little bit of mental stuff. Maybe you're playing against Mike's team, and we're going to walk through the fade screen the whole time. He seems to use that for those 3 minutes before we do something else. All right, the third thing. All right, actually, that was the third. The first thing I always say is you can do anything you want. You can't do everything you want. Practice shooting before you practice your defense, and loosen up with some different drills. Number 4 is shorten all passes. And we've all yelled against the press all the time. Come meet the ball, meet the ball. Well, I think shortening the pass is a two-way street, too. That this guy right here is trying to hit this guy with a pass, and this guy has to use his footwork so that he breaks glass when he throws that pass, so that guy, we do very little of this stuff and go get the ball. Very little. All our stuff is like that. It's coming away from the ball, so you have good backdoor stuff. If you all can see that. Can we? Oh, I can't. I should write on top all the time, shouldn't I? I should write up here. I'm sorry. You probably didn't see that. Was I blocking you? We do very little of this, believe it or not. We do an awful lot of this. Like what I call a Z-cut, where we go back door if you're overplayed. Always start from the outside and keep the middle open so that we can drive. Might be very different, might be what everybody else does. It's just the way we've always played. But what we're always trying to do is really shorten that pass as much as possible, so that this guy right here, he's got his job to do to shorten the pass, and this guy's got his job to do to shorten the pass. That if they're like that, I want that pass made at this distance. I don't want, you see this all, what we call naked passes. That guy's here, and he goes like that. And you just watch it, and I'm telling you, that just about everybody does it, that we end up recruiting, whatever. They get the ball, and they're like this, or they're like this, or they're like this. I mean, we're really emphasizing everything. It's going to be, you're going to catch the ball on the hop, and your pass is going to be out there breaking glass, like there's glass right here. If I'm entering the ball to the post, I'm going to catch it, and I'm breaking glass. I am making that pass a good 5 feet shorter than it was. And at the other end, the guy that's coming to meet the ball now, he is coming all the way, showing his outside hand, using his body as a fort to protect himself, and then catching it on 2 right away, and then he's pulling the ball through immediately. But with every pass has got to be short. And then, of course, as this guy makes his walk up like Mike was talking about, now he starts to break open at that point, right, as he comes up. Of course, if he sees he's being overplayed, he's just cutting back door. That's why I don't like here's the basket, here's the man. That's why I don't like the guys coming up this way, because I don't think you can go back door as quick. So we always like to just like a little move in here, come get the ball, the guy's on your hip. If you can catch it, fine. If he's up off your hip, gone. And we try and play that there's nothing ever behind you on that. Okay? So along that line now, if you're going to shorten the pass, there's two key things. Now these are, I can remember going to clinics 22 years ago, going to Syracuse, and I'm just starting at Newfane High School as the JV coach. As coach said, I'm not talking about the wins, but that is the truth. I've never been an assistant coach. JV high school, varsity high school, junior college, Division II NAIA combined, Division II, and then Division I. And going to these clinics, I always did those things. I know some of you right now, I'm just telling you straight out, and I'm not trying to flatter you, that some of you can coach a lot better than some of the guys I've coached against in Division I. Without a doubt, you do a better job in some areas. And the same thing with Division III coaches, Division II coaches. I know all those things. And going to the clinics all the time, I used to sit there and I wanted plays and I wanted these wonderful things. I remember John Wooden talking about balance. And I'm like falling asleep, probably because I stayed out too late like you guys did last night. He's talking about balance and putting your shoes on correctly and, you know, and I'm like saying, give me some good stuff. And now I'm going to talk to you about that same stuff that Wooden did. Important thing is, you can't come open till the ball talks and the ball sees. Don't come open till the ball sees you. That's one of the biggest problems is kids run from point A to point B because you told them to. The ball isn't ready to be passed yet. The ball talks, the ball sees. We say it all the time. And don't come open till the ball sees you. And if you just do little simple drills like that, my players will say, I'm so complicated and I'm telling you how simple the game is. They would lie. They would be laughing right now. But just simple drills like this, and with we'll do this in that 3-minute warm-up, where we'll end up, this guy will dribble baby down, he'll turn, and he'll look to pass it to this guy, and this guy starts walking in till the ball sees him. Then when the ball sees him, he breaks open to get it, and he passes it. And then this guy will cut through, and we want him to cut through like that, so we catch the ball, and we're immediately looking inside. Then this guy at the same time is walking up till the ball sees him. And this guy now is looking inside. Now he sees the head turn and the ball is going to see him. So now when that guy plants his left foot and goes hard. Right? And he's caught the ball right there. In the meantime, that guy has got out of there and he's walking up in here until the ball sees him. And this guy may be looking like there was a fake post and now he looks in and now it goes back door. And we just keep working on little things like that to make sure that the ball sees you and that you're ready. And every pass has to be here, you know, and maybe the guy isn't there, then you're up. And just simple thing. We try to use the same pivot foot every time. Every time. And without running around, in the perimeter I'm talking about. I'm not talking about post play here. I'm talking in perimeter. Without running around your jump shot. And there's sometimes you're just not going to be able to do it, especially if you're coming off like a curl screen and things like that. But we really try and teach them. It's real easy for, let's say we're all right-handed. Away from me, away from me, away from me. Okay. If you're coming this way, it's very easy to use the same pivot foot because you're going on your inside pivot foot. So you're coming up, there's the basket, and there's the ball's right up there, and I'm coming up, and it's very easy. You're going to catch it on the hop. Your left foot is your pivot foot, and you're coming in. I've found that, and you guys, if you're a high school coach, you have it worse. You got the guy who's getting pretty portly, right? He needs a break. What's his easiest break? Travel. So then he can go down, and it's like offensive holding or it's like holding in football. They say they can call it every time. These guys are going to call the walk when they need a break or to show that they can, why they're getting, you know, their $50 to $100 a game. With us, they're getting $800 a game. So they need to maybe make a call. So I hate them when they do this stuff too, way out the top like that. You want to kill them. And it wasn't a walk. I mean, it's the worst thing in the world to watch a tape and see it wasn't a walk, and the SOB called a walk. So we try and do on the other side. I think that's a thing that if there was a epitaph or something on my grave someday about our teams, that we don't turn the ball over, we don't walk I shouldn't say we don't. We try not to turn the ball over, and we try not to walk. So on this side, as you're coming up, once again, let's see, there's the basket, there's the ball, basket's right there, and now I'm coming up to get the ball. We prefer them to catch it like this on two and then pull the right foot through. Sometimes they're going to be coming off, they're ready to shoot, and they are going to go inside foot and go up. And we practice that, you know, and they'll know when they're open. You are going to get the kid who all of a sudden gets run at, and now he's going to have to step across. We try to really get him to just be able to catch it, bang, and shoot without running too much like that. And that's the toughest one, and you got to work at that. You really got to work at that. If you're running flex stuff, when I ran a flex a long time ago. We didn't screen the corner. We just would shuffle off and go up. That was the toughest one, and I used to actually get my kids to, split and go up like that. Don't do that as much anymore, and some kids just sort of do it naturally. But if you can establish that same foot, those little drills, pretty soon they'll work themselves out, and the kid will try and catch it the same way, as long as you're on the same wavelength. If he's running up and the ball's there, he doesn't have his feet to be set. So when coming open, the ball sees you, and likewise is important. Okay, being strong with the ball, that's the same thing. We have a thing we call the Jersey City drill that I'll show you. We play a couple teams in our league at Canisius before, and I'm sure it's going to be the same thing in the Colonial, is that they just are so, St. Peter's is so aggressive on the ball. I mean, they're tough Jersey City kids, and if you come and you go like this for a minute and just look, it's gone. They're going to, and they might take your wrists and your arms with you, but they're not going to call them all the time. So we're really big about being strong with the ball. Show no navels, none of this, right? If you're going to do that, it's just a sweep through and then back down to protect. No backs. Don't get the ball like that, and you're like this looking for something. You just got to be strong and tough with it as soon as you get it. You pull it through your elbow through with minimal footwork. Minimal footwork. It's the catch and it's the bounce off that foot. We say be like a slipper. The quadricep should be that you caught the ball on, got to be flexed. When you get kids start to change the weight to this foot, you're going to be in trouble because then they're going to start to walk. We really said keep the weight on that foot and just touch it and go, and you just keep working that one foot. This heel's got to stay off the ground. Tell them to keep the right heel off the ground. That way they won't do that. If you're hearing this, he's going to start walking on you. So it's a touch, and it's a touch. And you're just doing that all the time as you're doing it, but you're not showing that navel to him at all. None of this belly stuff. And then, so you're ready to do that. You're ready to break glass so that he can't deflect. Good drill that we do with that, I call the Jersey City drill, because those son of a guns beat us up all the time. And, we might get some, the kids that played in suburbia and everybody played the 2-3 zone, and then you go play St. Peter's, and they are just like right on you. And the kids are just coughing it up like crazy. So we started doing that this year from different angles, and this has the footwork. You take a guy here, you can do this with 3 and actually hit an open man. I'm going to keep this simple. Here's the guy right here. Here's the defense. He's going to throw a bounce pass down this line. Just bounce it, and it's going to go like that. This sucker's got to run it down before it bounces twice. So he's got to sprint over there to get it. And when he ends up getting the ball over in there, right, he's got to catch it. So he's like running like crazy to get it before it bounces twice. The coach is going to start cussing. And then he gets over there and he catches it. And now this guy who threw it is coming in, and he's just going to get right in him, foul him. I don't care what he does, right? And this guy's got to catch it, pull it through, and get one dribble into the lane.